Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's just jump right in today because we're unpacking something literally life-changing. We're looking at a specific chapter. It's called Functional Freeze, and it's from Ellen Tiff's incredible book, There is a Word for That. If you've been dragging yourself through life lately, running on fumes, feeling completely checked out, well, stick around. This explainer is going to make so many things click into place for you. Let me just ask you directly. Have you withdrawn from the world? Do you feel perpetually exhausted, entirely disconnected? Does the simple act of just stepping outside and living a quote-unquote normal life feel impossible right now? If you're not in your head, I really want to validate exactly where you are. You're not alone in this. And honestly, this isn't some sign that you're failing at life. Sometimes, it feels like you're watching everything happen from behind a thick pane of glass. Let's look at Louise. Louise was this incredibly passionate school counselor, loved hiking, always laughing with friends. But then, he hit a brutal season of emotional losses. A toxic new boss, his best friend moved away, a really tough breakup, and then, the final straw, getting mugged in his favorite park. After all that, his entire system just powered down. He basically went into a deep hibernation. So what Lewis experienced, that's called functional freeze. And as Ellen Tift outlines in her book, we really need to strip away the shame here, because this is not a character flaw, not at all. It's actually this brilliant, ancient neurobiological survival mechanism. It's a protective nervous system shutdown that kicks in when threats feel inescapable. Your body is literally doing exactly what a bear does in the winter, shutting down all non-essential systems just to keep you alive. So let's get right into Section 1, Entering Hibernation Mode. And I want to be clear, this idea of hibernation, it's not just some pretty metaphor. It is a very heavy, very biological reality. Your body is forcing a shutdown. The bone-deep fatigue, the feeling that no amount of sleep actually fixes anything, that's not in your head. Your stress hormones go out of whack, your immune system shifts, you might even get severe digestive issues, because your body is literally diverting every drop of its resources just for basic, foundational survival. Now, you might be wondering, why does it do this? Well, it's all because of your body's unconscious safety radar. Clinicians call this neuroception, but really, it's just your nervous system constantly scanning the room for danger, way, way below your conscious awareness. The problem is, after trauma, this radar gets totally miscalibrated. It starts seeing danger everywhere, even when you're completely safe. And it triggers that freeze response without you ever actively deciding to do it. It's wild, but this actually shows the brilliant protective logic of your own body. It's essentially saying, hey, I can't fight this danger, I can't run from it, so I'm just going to preserve energy and disappear. Your body made a choice to protect you based on what it learned was necessary out there. It built this profound, invisible barrier to shield you from a world that just felt way too harsh to handle. Which brings us to Section 2. The myth of laziness. And man, this is where the outside world really gets it wrong. Going back to Lewis for a second, his roommate, Marco, saw a pile of unwashed dishes and immediately called Lewis lazy. But Marco completely missed what was actually happening. We absolutely have to break this shame cycle by contrasting won't versus can't. See, laziness is won't. That's a choice. It's willful stubbornness. Functional freeze, that is can't. It's a genuine lack of nervous system capacity. You're not choosing to avoid your life. Your system literally cannot engage with it right now. To put that into perspective, there's this quote in the book from a former marketing executive describing her freeze state. She knew she should call her friends back. She knew she should make dinner. But doing those things felt like trying to lift 1,000 pounds, literally. That is the sheer physical weight of functional freeze. The energy it takes to do even the smallest task is just massive. And because you might function totally fine one day, like going to work, and then completely collapse the next and not even be able to brush your teeth, it's super important to distinguish freeze from other things. For instance, unlike agoraphobia, which is a fear of specific spaces, functional freeze is a total overall system shutdown. And unlike ADHD, which involves attention regulation, freeze is deeply rooted in this underlying primal survival and fear response. Let's move on to Section 3, the hidden losses. We're talking about the quiet, unseen emotional toll of being in that cave. Ellen Tift calls this disenfranchised grief. Basically, these are the unmourned, invisible losses. You're grieving the loss of your vibrant former identity. You're watching relationships just kind of fade out because you simply don't have the energy to keep them going. You even lose your sense of the future because your imagination literally powers down to save energy.
It's a heavy, very real grief that society almost never talks about.
And what makes his grief even more complicated is the digital dilemma. So while Lewis was hiding in his cave, he would just endlessly scroll social media. But he wasn't just, looking at funny memes. His traumatized system was actually seeking out distressing content, checking up on the people who hurt him. It's his crazy paradox. You desperately want to feel safe, but doom scrolling keeps your nervous system locked in danger mode. It falsely confirms that the whole world is entirely unsafe.
But listen, there is hope here. Let's transition to our final section. Section 4, gentle signs of spring and how we actually start to gently wake up.
Just like you can't force a flower to bloom by yanking on its petals, you have to safely and gently thaw out from this protective cave. If you're a loved one watching this, please avoid what Lewis's sister did. She minimized his trauma. She said, well, at least you weren't physically hurt. Look, minimizing things or forcing engagement, that only pushes the survivor way deeper into hiding. So what actually helps? Believing them, removing the pressure, offering a consistent, gentle presence without demanding they just snap out of it. And if you are the one currently in freeze, remember this. Waking up a hibernating animal too early is dangerous. You've got to expand your capacity slowly. We're talking micro steps. Tiny micro connections, like just saying hi to a barista. Engaging with nature, where there are zero complex human demands. Doing gentle body-based practices, like some light stretching. Or maybe just creating art alone in your isolation. It's all about adding tiny drops of safety to slowly recalibrate your internal radar. And you'll absolutely know it's working when you start noticing these incredibly subtle signs of awakening. Now, healing isn't linear. It's not going to happen overnight. But maybe one day you suddenly notice the beauty of a tree outside your window. Or maybe you catch yourself humming a song. Those fleeting interests, those brief little moments of being present in your body, they are proof. They're absolute proof that life is still growing right beneath the frozen surface. I really want you to let this affirmation just sink in for a second. My withdrawal protects me. As safety grows, I can emerge at my own pace. Your core, powerful self, it's still completely intact. You weren't broken. You haven't forgotten how to live. You're really just remembering how to feel safe enough to do so. To truly understand this journey and find your way back to the surface, I highly, highly encourage you to go by and read There's a Word for That by Ellen Tiff today. Honestly, this one chapter alone is life-changing, and the entire book is just a masterpiece. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. When the snow finally melts and you feel safe enough to step outside again, who will you become in your own springtime? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.